Okay.
Start now?
Yep.
Okay. Hi, my name is Brenda COF. My topic is on child beauty pageants. So in 2016, I was crowned Miss Friendly Almani South Almani Princess. It was a lot of hard work, determination, and very stressful due to the long hours of rehearsal. I mean, rehearsals are stressful because everyone's yelling at you, like, get in your position, do this, do that, and you don't even know where to go, and it's difficult. So as an adult, it was hard for me, so I can imagine how difficult it is for a child. For this reason, I claim that child beauty pageants are harmful to children. So now I'm going to say my 3 points that why I believe this. It's because parents add too much pressure on children. Second, it sexualizes the image of children. Third, it can cause emotional and psychological damage in the future. Okay, so moving back to my first one is that child beauty pageants are harmful because parents add too much pressure on children. I mean, have you guys ever seen Toddlers and Tiaras?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys have seen how the parents get, honestly the parents get more excited than the children. Like, you'll just see like, they're behind the judges and they're just saying, and doing all these things, like blow kisses, do this, and just like, and the children's just like, what am I doing here, you know? I mean, I understand because they're children. I mean, they're not perfect. Some of them don't even want to be there. And then parents get super strict. They want their child to look and be perfect, even including putting their children at risk. As an example, in the article from the Business Insider, talks about an episode of Toddlers and Tiaras in which a mom forces her daughter to get her eyebrows waxed. And the daughter's like 2, she barely has eyebrows. Like, seriously, the one that needs eyebrows waxed is me. Like, and I mean, that's like abuse right there. That hurts. And I saw the clip and the poor child is screaming, "Mom, please make it stop." And the mom's like, there, you look how beautiful you look. That's so messed up. What's that? And then on pageant day, parents discourage nap time. Nap time is important because kids get really fuzzy and they start making the biggest tantrums. But honestly, I mean, I was a child too, and I enjoyed my little nap time, you know? And like for example, in Psychology Today, it states that parents give pixie sticks to children to make them stay awake. You know what pixie sticks are, right? Well, they call them, and they're just like these long sticks and they're just candies. They're also known as the cocaine in child pageants. And also, parents give a lot of caffeinated drinks to children. Like you guys have seen Honey Boo Boo, right? The little, I mean, she's an example of that. She's too much. She's too much. She has too much sugar. She has too much sugar in her system. Okay, now moving on to my second point is that child pageants are harmful because they sexualize the image of children. I mean, the excessive makeup, the tons of hairspray, the flippers. You guys know what the flippers are, which are the fake teeth that they wear, like these little perfect white teeth. Fake tans, revealing outfits, extensions, wigs. This gives an appearance of an adult, and I find it very disturbing because it's a child. Why are you exploding? I mean, is that word? Well, yeah, exploiting. Exploding. I'm sorry. And then they're like during the talent portions too. It's just like it's just very inappropriate. There's like some twerking and other inappropriate dances. I would demonstrate, but I'm running out of time. And then there's an example of a little girl, a 3-year-old little girl, also from Toddlers and Tiaras, that she dressed up as Julia Roberts' prostitute character in Pretty Woman. I mean, the outfit was just way too much. It was showing like her sides. It was way too short. I mean, I don't know how this pageant organization let that happen, because that's very inappropriate. I mean, why can't a little girl be dressed as a cute little ladybug, or it's just not right. Another case that demonstrates how the effect or the negative effect of sexualizing how child pageants are harmful because they sexualize the image of children is the case of John Benet Ramsey. This occurred in 1996, the day after Christmas. This little girl was found dead in her own home. She had duct tape on her mouth, a cord on her neck, and she was sexually abused. And she had her skull was also, she had like a fracture on her skull. There was an interview with ABC News with her dad, John Ramsey, and he said that he regrets letting his daughter do pageants. That if he could go back in time, he would not let her, because he felt like this attracted a pedophile to come and attack and kill his baby. And he even says that it's not a good idea to put children in public display, such as beauty pageants. Third, why child pageants are harmful is because it causes an emotional and psychological damage. I mean, it's a competition. I know what I've been through that. And girls start competing with the other girls too, like, oh, why can't I have her body, or why can't I have her hair, her eyes are so pretty, she's so much better than me. And this leads to feelings of body dissatisfaction. There's a quote by psychologist Martina Cartwright. She said that such competitions can display adult body dissatisfaction in their later years, and that is also possible for them to suffer from various eating disorders. I put myself as an example because when I was a little girl, I was very thin. So as I started growing, I started gaining weight, so my body started changing. So when I did this pageant, I saw the girls and they were thinner, and I wanted to attract judges, so I thought that, oh, I need to be a size 2, so I pressured myself for like a whole year. I would starve myself. All I would eat was like cereal. I would exercise a lot, and I did lose weight. I lost like 50 pounds, but I'm sorry. It's been really hard. I'm sorry if I get a little emotional, but I'm really trying to overcome this. But it's been really hard because I would sometimes I would just look at, especially last year, it was really hard because I would look at myself in the mirror, and it's just really it was hard for me to accept who I was. But now I'm attending church and doing all these events, so it's distracting my mind, and I'm becoming stronger, and I will overcome this. So, in conclusion, child pageants are harmful because they create a lot of pressure, they sexualize a child's image, and cause emotional and psychological damage. I believe a crown doesn't define who you are, or it doesn't define beauty. I think beauty comes within. Thank you.
All right, well, the proposition is very clearly identified, and there's an excellent preview of what the supporting structure is going to be. I do think that you make a bit of a point of there being a controversy on this. I think you largely do that through your personal experience, which also enhances your credibility as a speaker on this particular topic. For the most part, you talk about the background of this in very general terms. I don't know that all the child pageants have all the things that you're talking about, that this is typical and common. One of the things that I think is missing from the evidence that you need here in order to establish your argument is some data that allows us to make a generalization. We've got some very conclusionary opinions. Sometimes they come from experts, but the experts, of course, aren't providing a lot of documentation as to prove this. They just are giving us their insight. They think there's a possible link on these points. And there's one section where you were making that same kind of assumption that there's a possible link here. You find it disturbing that the kids are being, as you described it, sexualized. And I think that you're certainly entitled to your opinion, and I don't watch these things, so I don't want to know what kind of stuff goes on there myself, but I imagine that there are probably others who think it's just cute. You know, they're play acting, they are it's like dressing up your dog in Julia Roberts' clothes too. I don't know that it has the impression that you're talking about. The John Benet Ramsey thing, the one piece of evidence that you use to kind of connect that is the father's argument that there might have been, maybe we attracted a child predator because of that. I think that you want to give us that direct quote, and you ought to be giving us source citations on a lot more of this information. You've got a lot of examples that you cite. I know they came from someplace, but you're not telling us where they came from. That I thought was the best evidence that you had, the frequency of the examples that you use to illustrate some of the points that you're talking about. All right, and obviously it was a little overtime, a couple of minutes, but there was a good summary at the end, so your argument was relatively clear. Thank you.